All right then, so now what we are going to do is we are going to create the header something like this. So let's go ahead and start creating the header. So inside this, instead of displaying something like this, what I'm going to do is I'm going to change this class name. I'm going to fix the height as 20, something like this. And on the medium devices onwards, okay, let's make it responsive later. So I'm going to change this to fixed height, and insert y, it's going to be 0. Okay, which means then width, of course, it's going to be full, and z, it always should be 50. So save these changes. This is how it's looking right now because the header is being fixed, so the sidebar and everything will be on the top of it. Now inside this, what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a new component for this. So let's go ahead and create a new component. So I'm going to name that component as navbar. So let's create a new navbar component, which is going to be the specific component, and it's been only used inside the dashboard. In order to do that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a new folder inside the dashboard called underscore components. So the reason why I'm adding the underscore before it's because it will not consider it as a route. That's the reason. Okay, so components. Inside this, I'm going to say navbar.tsx. And here I'm just going to say RAFC, and I'm going to change this to navbar. Okay, save it, and let's import that navbar right over here, and it's coming from /adds component navbar, because the reason why it's not using @, because it is not coming from the root component folder. That's the reason it is not showing that @. So save these changes. Now you should be able to see the navbar text over there, but it's been overlapping. So to avoid that, what we can do is, so let's write the styles for this as class name. Padding, of course, it's going to be 4, and now we should be able to see some padding over there. Then border, and we need the border bottom. So let's add the border bottom alone. Border bottom. Height, of course, it's going to take the complete height of that header which we fixed on that header tag, and flex item center, and of course it's going to have the BG white color, and shadow, it should have small shadow. So now you should be able to see that shadow over here. So the reason why we don't able to see the content and everything, because it is now right behind the header. So don't worry about that, we will fix that later. Now you should be able to see the header just like the same way what we do have over here. Okay, so now inside this navbar, what are the things that we need to do? I need to bring the, if you switch back over here, you should be able to see we're having this the toggle icon where I can to bring this the mobile responsive menu. And if it is coming back over here, you should be able to see we having this the routes over here. So basically what you need to do is we need to write this as a completely responsive. So now what I need to do is I need to bring two important things. One is the mobile routes, and 2, that is the sidebar routes, which is going to be the same, the sidebar routes, and that is also the same thing which is going to be displayed when you're making it responsive, right? That's the two important thing that we need to create. So let's create the navbar routes first. So let's say navbar routes, something like this, navbar route. Say, and now what we need to do is we need to create the new component for this navbar route. So let's go ahead and create the new navbar routes. So let's create a new component over here called navbar routes.tsx, and this is going to be the client component, because by default everything in the Next.js over here, it's a server side component. You should change this to client side. In order to do that, you just need to say use client. Okay, then what I'm going to do, I'm just going to say RAFC, and I'm going to change this to navbar routes, something like this, and I don't need this import statement. Let's delete that. Okay, so inside here, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring all those first we need to bring this profile actions over here. So let's go ahead and do that one. So what we need to do is let's wrap this into React code fragments, and let me create as a div, and here I'm just going to say class flex, and of course gap x, it's going to be 2, and margin left auto, enter. Okay, So if you check it out over here, you can see if you are in that specific route. If I click this admin, you should be able to see now you are inside the admin slash job. If you are in that specific route, you should be able to see it's showing as exit button. If you're not in that route, it is going to show you the admin mode, enable the admin mode, right? So in order to do that, what we need to do is we need to fetch certain things. So before that, let's bring that the user button over here. Okay, so let's go ahead and bring that user profile button. So what we need to do is first I need to bring the user button, and after sign out URL, it's need to push the user to the home route. Now you should be able to see, let's bring this nav routes over here, and now you should be able to see that over there. You can see that icon over there. Okay, so we have ourselves the user profile button over there, and now all we have to do is to start customizing to bring this over here. So in order to get that, so we need to access the path name first. To get that, so let's create a new variable called path name, and we are going to use the use path name provided by the next navigation. You can say make sure that is being imported from the next navigation to get the path name. So first I need to figure it out whether the user is in the admin page or not, right? So const is admin page equals to, if the path name, sorry, not path, if the path name starts with slash admin. If the path name starts with slash admin, then he is in the admin page, right? So if the user is in the admin page, then what we need to do, we need to display that button, something like that, like admin mode or something like that. Okay, if the user is in the admin page, we need to display exit button. If the user is not in the admin page, we need to display the button as admin mode. So let's go here, and right after here, what I'm going to do is I'm gonna check it out. So okay, so if is admin page, and then we need to import one more page, that is going to be the jobs. That's the players page. If the user is in the is player page, which means the client page. If the user either in the admin page or is player page, what we need to do, we need to render a separate fragments. Okay, so inside here, what we are going to do is I'm going to bring, instead of this React fragment, I'm going to bring the link tag, which is from the next link, and which is going to have the href, which is going to be the home route. Okay, that is the home route. And here, which is going to be the button, bring the button. Inside this button, what we are going to do, I'm just going to have this icon called exit, because that's the user already in that specific page. So user needs to exit from that specific page. So exit, which is being log out icon from the Lucid React, which has already been inserted by the Shatsi in itself. And I'm going to say exit. And for this button, what I'm going to create for this button, I'm going to say the variant, which is going to be the outline variant, because that is how the design it should looks like. Then the size of this button is going to be the small button. Okay, and the class name, of course, it's going to be border purple 700. That's how the border purple it should like, and the 20% of that's color. Okay, say this changes. Now you will not able to see because user is not over there in that specific page. If the user is not in that page, then the user needs to be pushed back to the the user needs to be pushed back to the admin slash jobs page slash, because that's the place where the user needs to be, user able to see that page immediately, right? So that the jobs, whatever the user been successfully created by himself previously. And here we need to change this to admin mode. All right, now we should be able to see this over here. Now if I click this, you will get 404 because we don't have this admin page and all those things, admin jobs and all those things. We don't have that page. Okay, so it will make sense when we are creating those specific pages and everything. Now this is how this Navbar routes it's going to be. So far over here you can see, now if I click this, that will take the user to the admin/jobs, where the user is able to see this complete information, and the sidebars also it's been customizing over here, right? So let's get back to the business over here. Now all we have to do is to bring the sidebars. Now we have the sidebar, so let's get back over here and let's bring this mobile routes now. So in order to bring that mobile sidebar, okay, so what we need to do is over here, I'm going to create a new component called mobile sidebar. Okay, so this is the mobile sidebar that we are going to bring it. Okay, so let's hide it for the time being now. Okay, so before bringing that mobile sidebar, we need to, in the layout, this is the place where we need to bring our main sidebar. So let's go ahead and start writing the sidebar first. So class name, which is going to be hidden. By default it's need to be hidden, but on the medium devices it should be displayed. So flex, height, full, width, of course it's going to be the 56. So I'm going to fix the width as 56. So what we are trying to do over here is, by default the sidebar will always be hidden. Once it reaches the medium devices, it will start displaying, which means this content needs to be hidden when you're in the mobile screen, and that's the place where your mobile screen route, mobile sidebar will come takes the place. Okay, so first we need to write this, then we need to write that. So fix the width as, then flex column, and it's going to be fixed position, and inset y, of course it's going to be 0, which means it's need to be pinned to the top and bottom. That's the reason. Okay, and it should always be top of the layer, z index 50. So save this changes, and now you should be able to see this. And inside here we are going to change this as a component. We don't have that sidebar component yet, so first what we need to do, we need to create that sidebar component. So let's get back over here, and inside here I'm going to create a new sidebar dot.tsx, and inside this one I'm just going to say sfc side, or let's keep it as rafc sidebar, and let's import this inside straight away from where, from the /sidebar. Now you should be able to see the sidebar, and this sidebar needs to be class name, height, of course it's need to be full, and then border, I need the border right side, border or border right side, and flex column, and overflow y should be automatic, and bg, of course it should be white. So save these changes. Now you should be able to see that we do have some line over here, like exact same structure which we got. And inside here, first I need to bring the logo. So div, let's say class padding 6, and we need to bring the logo over here, logo. Okay, so now in order to bring the logo, so I already do have the link in the description below, so where you can download all the images which I'm using right now. So I'm going to copy that image folder, and I'm going to bring it right away over inside the public folder which we do have, which is having the 404 page and the portal banner and the logo and this icon for our footer, and this is the logo which we are using. So I'm going to load this logo straight away over here. So to load the logo, what we need to have a separate component to load the logo. So I'm going to create a new component over here called logo.tsx, and I'm going to change this to rafc, and I'm going to change this to logo. All right, so here now let's change this text to logo. Okay, so let's get back over here. Instead of this, what I'm going to do, I'm going to bring the logo, I'm going to load it over here. Okay, so now we have our logo. Let's save this. It's both are same only. Okay, now in this logo, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to return an image. So basically it's going to be an image which is coming from next image slash, and this is going to have the height as 60, and width also I'm going to keep it as 60. Then alternative text, it's going to be the logo, and the main source of this is going to be /img folder. From the public, it's going to access the image folder. Inside that, I do have this logo.png file. Save this, and now you should be able to see the logo image over there. So now we should have this exact logo image right away over there. So now we have that logo. Now what we have to do, we have to bring the sidebar routes. We already have the sidebar, and right after here we need to bring that sidebar routes. So we need to say sidebar routes. Okay, so let's create a div, and let's say class name and flex column and width full. We can directly write the routes over here, but I'm going to keep it as a component, because if you notice over here, this is the same route which is going to be displayed over here. So that's the reason we are going to create it as a component. So what I'm going to do is, we're going to create sidebar routes as a component. So let's go ahead and create that sidebar routes as a component. So let's get back over here, and let me create a new file over here, sidebar routes.tsx. Enter, and this is going to be the use client. And right after that here, now what I need to do, I need to create the components and everything. So let's create the components. So here RAFC, let's say sidebar routes. Okay, so this is not necessary. Save as changes, and let's bring it over here. Save it, and now you should be able to see the sidebar routes over there. Okay, so let's go ahead and start customizing the sidebar routes, and that's what we are going to do next.